is nothing to show here. ठीक है, वो दिखाओ अपना। हाँ ये आप देखो। ऐड आने दो, ऊपर से होगा। नहीं हुआ। Translation. Hello friends, welcome to BISP Solution. So let's start our today's session. So these are the topic which we will cover in our session: legal entity, business unit, common configuration to RI sheet. RI sheet is rapid implementation sheet, and the employee user, right? So let's start with the legal entity. So under the legal entity, we will first create the legal address, and after that we will create the legal entity in our application. And after creating this legal entity, we will assign this legal entity to our primary ledger, and at the end we have to assign the balancing segment value to this legal entity, right? So legal entity. So a legal entity is a recognized party with rights and responsibilities under the commercial law through a registration with the country's appropriate authority. It means a legal entity deals with the company's registration related information, the company's related data like registration number, and all the details which we entered in our legal entity it mention, right? And the legal entity is responsible for for the facility local compliances, the minimum enterprises tax liabilities, the isolate the business risk by creating the separate area based on the legal entity, right? The business area based on the legal entity. So these are the legal entity, right? And the payroll statutory unit are the legal entities that are responsible for paying the workers, including the payment of the payroll taxes and the social insurance. And a payroll statutory unit can pay and report on the payroll tax on behalf of one and many legal entities depending on the structure of your enterprise, right? On the structure of your enterprise. And legal employer. A legal employer is a legal entity that employ the worker. You can say that you can hire the people to hire the worker in our legal employer, right? So let's move our application first, and we'll see how to create a legal entity. So first we will create our legal address. Later on we will create the legal entity, and after that we assign the legal entity to our primary ledger. And our last task under the legal entity is assigning the balancing segment value to our legal entity, right? Let's log in with our implementation user, which we created earlier in our first session, sorry, second session. This starter. चल रहा है इंटरनेट. So this is our implementation user, right? So in order to create a legal address in our application, we have to go to on setting and action. Under this setting and action, click on this setup and maintenance. Click on this task list. Manage implementation project. Search for our project, that is Tata implementation project new, right? And we have the offerings financial. With the help of this offering, we can implement all the tasks like legal entity, primary ledger, business unit, we can create, right? So we have to search manage legal entity, legal address. Search for that. Right. Go with the financial, right? So we have the manage legal address. Click on this go to task, right? And click on this create icon, right? So under the country United States, I'm going to create a location. So let's enter the address line first, that is Tata legal entity address. Let's define postal code. Select and click OK. Right. It fetch all the information related to this geographical area, city, state, and the county. Right. Click OK. So you can see the Tata legal entity address gets created over here. Right. Click on save and close. Now let's search. The task name is manage legal entity. Manage legal entity. Go with the financial part. We have already discussed about what is the legal entity. Click on this go to task. Right. So we are going to create new one. So click on this create new and click on this apply and go to task. right? And click on this create icon. Let's start with the name. We have to define the name of this legal entity. So I'm going to enter Tata legal entity. Now we have the legal entity identifier. We, we must, this is the mandatory field we have to define over here. We can define the start date and end date for this legal entity, right? And we have the payroll statutory unit and the legal employer, right? So when we click on this checkbox, and if you want to run the payroll in our organization under this registration, you have to enable this checkbox, right? Payroll statutory unit. And if you want to hire the employee with this registration, with this legal entity, under this legal entity, so you have to click on this checkbox, right? Now you have to define the registration information, the legal address we have created earlier. Let's search. So this is our legal address. We can easily identify over here, right? We can define the place of registration, right? And this is also a mandatory field, that is TIN number and the legal reporting unit registration number, right? Right. You have to define your TIN number and legal reporting unit registration number, right? Which the client provide to you, right? So click on this save and close. So all the information provided by the client, right? Now we have to assign this legal entity to our primary ledger, right? So we have to search, the task name is assign legal entity, assign legal entity, right? Click on this financial, right? So we have the task name is assign legal entity, and we have already the Tata primary ledger is not our primary ledger. We have to change this in the selected scope, right? So click on this assign legal entity, right? So search our legal entity, sorry, we have to select and add over here. Now search, this is our Tata legal entity, click apply, click done, right? So this is our legal entity which we created earlier, and this is our entity, legal entity identifier, country, and the legal entity for determining the time zone is enabled over here, right? So this is how you can assign the legal entity to our primary ledger. Save and close. right? Now you have to assign the balancing segment value to our legal entity, right? In our last session, we have seen the primary ledger, how to create the primary ledger in our application. Under this primary ledger, we already described our chart of account, right? Under this chart of account, we had defined the value set. We have three value set: the company value set, department value set, and the account value set. We have already seen in our last session, right? So under the company value set, we had defined the three company, right? And we have defined the segment label, that is primary balancing segment, right? So we have three company segment, and we can say that we have the balancing segment, right? So we have to define these all balancing segment to this legal entity, right? So we cannot assign this balancing segment value to this legal entity directly, and we can say that the company we cannot map the company directly to the legal entity. So first the legal entity map with the primary ledger. After that, the balancing segment value to the legal entity, right? So how can this possible? We have the task name is assign balancing segment value to this legal entity. So click on this task, go to task, right? So we have the legal entity. This is our chart of account structure instance, primary ledger, and we have the company value set. Under this company value set, we have the three company, right? So click on this create icon, and we have to select the value, company value we have already defined in our chart of account, right? So select this one and click on this save and assign another. In the same way, we have to define second one, save and assign another, and the last one, save and close, right? Click on this save and close, right? In this way, we can assign the balancing segment value to our legal entity, right? Now we have to submit we have to review and submit our accounting configuration in this application. So this is our last task in our legal entity, right? So we have the task name is review and submit accounting configuration. Click on this go to task, right? You can see this is our primary ledger, ledger type is currency, chart of account. This is our calendar, data cal we have already created. This is our accounting method, right? And the status is confirmed, right? So there is no average balancing queue and the balancing queue. Let's click on this submit, click OK, right? So we have completed the legal entity in our application, right? So now I'll move to the our slide, right? Legal entity. We have created the legal address. After that, we have created the legal entity. After that, we have assigned the legal entity to our primary ledger, and our last task that we have assigned the balancing segment value to our legal entity. So this is all the tasks related to this our legal entity, right? Now let's move to our next slide, and next topic is business unit, right? So what is a business unit? A business unit is an organization structure such as a department or a team that are produce revenue, and it's possible for a cost and term is applied such that any team that manage the product and the services is typically considered as a business unit. And a business unit is a unit of an enterprise that perform one and many business transaction, one and business functions that can be rolled up in a management hierarchy, right? And the business unit can processes the transactions on the behalf of the legal entity which were created earlier. And normally the business unit have the manager, strategic objective, and a level of autonomy and the responsibility for its profit and loss, right? And business unit process the business transaction using the reference data set and that reflect our business rules, and the policies can differ from country to country, right? The policy, the rules and regulations are differ from country to country. Like we have the business unit in UK, in the same way have the business unit in the US also, right? So different country have the different policies and rules and regulation. So the business functions is represents a business process or an activity that can be framed by the people working with the business unit and describe how the business unit is used, right? So business unit can perform many business functions in Oracle Fusion, like we have the billing and revenue management, and we have the collection management, expense, material management, marketing, receiving, payables of receiving and the payment, procurement, and some more business functions like procurement, contract management, project accounting, requisitioning, customer contract management, customer payment. These are all the business functions in our application, right? So a business function logically indicates a presence of department in our business unit with the people performing the tasks associated with the business functions. So a business unit can have the many departments to perform the many business functions, right? We have the business hierarchy. You can see on the slide, we have Infusion America company, which provide a air quality monitoring system. And under this American company, we have the two division. First is Infusion Air System Division, and second is Financial Service Division. And under the division, we have to the division divide into the subdivision. First is a system, and second is installation. And both subdivision have the different sub unit, business unit. Like we have the air, under the air we have the compression business unit, under the electric we have the electric and mechanical service, right? So business unit hierarchy create using a second and third balancing segment, and we can provide a divisional result, right? So let's move to our application and we'll see how we create the business unit, right? So we have to search task name is manage business unit, right? We have the manage business unit, go with the financial, right? We have the manage business unit, click on this go to task, click on this create icon, right? So we have the page. Under this page we can create the business unit with the business unit information like name, location, default set, its reference data set, right? And we have to define the location over here, right? So before defining our business unit, we have to define the location, because there is some practical difficulties when we create our reports. That's why we have to define location first before creating a business unit, right? So let's cancel out, search for the manage location, click on this manage location task, manage location, click on this go to task, click on this create icon. So we have to define some basic details and the location information and the contact details and the man address, right? So we have the location set, we have already set as a common set, right? And we have the effective start date for this location. You can change over here and start with the name. So I'm going to enter this data business unit address, right? So that we can easily identify, right? And you can change the status of this business unit either in inactive or active as per your requirement, right? And if you have any inventory organization, you can define over here, right? We have the option now of location and latitude and the location longitude. Let's define the address line. We have the Tata business unit address. Let's define the zip code. Right. So this is all about the man address, right? And also we have the shipping details, shipping site and the receiving site. You can define as per your requirement, right? Let's click on this submit. Click OK. The request was submitted. Done. Now let's go to our manage business unit. Go to tasks under the manage business unit task. Click on this create. Right. Let's insert the name of this business unit, that is Tata business unit. Right. And you can also define our manager for this business unit. Let's select the location over here. This is Tata business unit address. Click OK. And the default set is common. Right. So this is the basic information for this for creating the business unit. Right. Let's click on this save and close. Right. Now, after creating the business unit, we have to assign the business function for this business unit. So we have the option, we have the task, name is assign business unit, business function. Let's click on this, go to task. And we have to select an 8 and click on this apply and go to task. Right. Now we have to search our business unit, Tata business unit. Select this one, click on this save and close. Right. So we have the multiple business functions. You can see over here. These are the business functions. So as per the required, we have to enable this business function for this business unit. Right. Suppose we have the expense management related tasks in this business unit. We have the material management related tasks. We have the procurement related tasks. Right. So all the functions you can define for this business unit. Let's select all the business function for our practice purpose. Right. So these are the business function. Right. And we have also defined the primary ledger and the legal entity for this business unit. So let's select our primary ledger, which we created in our last session. This one is our primary ledger, no issue. And when we select the primary ledger, so based on this legal, based on the we in our last uh, legal entity task, we map the legal entity with the primary ledger. So when we select our primary ledger, the automatically populate our legal entity. You can see over here, right? So this is the beauty of this Oracle Fusion application, right? So just click on this save and close. Right. So under the scope, you can see this is our business unit, right? So this is all about our business unit. So this is our today's second topic. Let's move to our slide. Let's next slide, right? Rapid implementation. So Oracle Fusion provides a unique feature, name is rapid implementation. So in last session, we have seen how we configure the common setup for our accounting calendar, currency, chart of account, primary ledger, business unit, also in our application, right? So all the setups take the plenty of time to configure in our application. Lots of time it will take, right? So to reduce the time for configuring the enterprise and the financial reporting setups in Oracle Fusion provides one splendid feature for implementation. The name is rapid implementation, right? So rapid implementation is the easiest way to configure an enterprise and the financial reporting structure quickly using the spreadsheet template provided by the Oracle. So Using the spreadsheet template, we upload the details of the company, ledger by the country, business unit, charts of account, segment value hierarchies, financial segments, and the sub ledger accounts required. Those are required, right? So these are the information we can take using the we can upload using the spreadsheet template, right? So this is the rapid implementation. So in order to perform the rapid implementation in our application, we have to follow some basic steps, right? So first we have to download the rapid implementation file for general ledger workbook. After that, we have to enter the data into the spreadsheet templates. We have to verify the enter data and resolve if any error occurred. And we upload the chart of account file and upload the general ledger, legal entity, business unit file with the rest of the configuration. So we have to follow some basic steps, right? And we have after once the RI sheets uploaded successfully in our application, so it will creates the accounting calendar, charts of account structure in instance, segment values, required subledger accounts, primary ledger, legal entity and their locations, and the business unit. So how can we achieve all these tasks using the rapid implementation functionality? So let's move our application and we'll see how to implement this rapid implementation sheet functionality step by step, right? So go to the instance, click done, done. Right. So under the setting, setup and maintenance, click on this task list, click on this search. This is global search and search. The task name is rapid implementation, right? So we have the common define common financial configuration for rapid implementation, right? So click on this name, the task name, and it will download one file. Let's click on that. Right. Sorry. Under this file, we have many tasks. We have the many tasks like we can create the chart of account, ledger, legal entity, business unit. We can create the cross validation, and we can create the bank and branches, accounts information, right? We can manage the tax rules, registration. These all the done. We can done. We will perform using the rapid implementation sheets, right? So we are going to create the charts of account, legal entity, and the business unit using the RI sheet. So click on this task and it will download one file. You can see over here, this is our file, right? Let's click on this file. This is our spreadsheet template, right? So this is our rapid implementation for general ledger, and we have the tab of instructions. It provides the instruction for this rapid implementation sheet, how we uh, provide the information, how we can insert the information, and how can we upload the RI sheet into our application, right? And we have a sample data. You can see over here. Let's click on that. Click on this disable. We have to click on that, right? So this is a sample data provided by the Oracle. You can see this is our chart of account information, and we have some steps like validate, generate a chart of account file, generate the legal entity and generally primary ledger and business unit file, add the segment sheet, how to insert the fill the information of business unit, how to fill the company and legal entity information. These are the uh, some raw data, sample data provided by the Oracle, right? Let's close it. Right, now we have some downloads. Let's cancel out, don't save. Right, go to our downloads, and which one is our second one, click on property, and we have to unlock this file, click OK. Right, let's again click on that. Right, so click on this first one is COA, calendar and ledger. Now we have to define the information. First we check the sample data, click on that, it's open easily, right, no issue. Right, click on the second tab of this sheet. This is COA, calendar and the ledger. Now we have to define the name. So this is the calendar information, the name, currency, the period, the adjustment period, and the financial year start date, right? So let's take the example of the uh, data we have already created. So let's take a Reliance group, right? So Reliance group, we are going to create the chart of account and the primary ledger, calendars and business unit for the Reliance group, right? Let's take the currency, click on this drop down, select our currency, that is USD. Right, now let's select our period frequency, that is monthly. Adjustment period we have already discussed about at the end, right? Once at year end, this is adjustment period. And let's define the fiscal year start date. This is MMDDYY. So define 01/01/2023. So these are the basic information for the calendar, right? And these are the chart of account information, right? So let's define company, and we have this segment label. We have the primary balancing segment. What are the short prompt name? This is company. Let's define the display width is 4, right? Let's define the company and the department. So enter department, right? Department. For the department, we have the cost center segment. We have the PT. Let's define the display width 4. Let's define the last is account, right? This is our segments, natural account segment, and define the annual CT and is 4. Let's define 4. Right. So these are the chart of account information. Right. You can see over here we have the segment company, department and account. Right. And on the bottom we have the company and the account related tab, but we don't have the department related tab over here. You can see this is a sequence, so we have to generate, we have to add the segment so that we can define the departments under this segment, right? So click on this add segment sheet. You can see a department tab is added in this spreadsheet, right? So this is our chart of account information. Let's click on this business unit. So let's define the business unit as well as the legal entity for this business unit, right? Reliance US business unit, and we have Reliance US legal entity, right? Now move to our next tab. This is companies and legal entities. Now let's define our companies under this spreadsheet, under this chart of account. So we have to define the parent and child relationship, right? So under the parent we have the company, and under this company we have the child. We have 10000, for which we have the all companies, right? So the first company belongs to our Reliance Finance department, right? Services. In the same way, we have the company, that is Reliance PPO, right? And in the same way, we can define the third one, that is Reliance Consulting, right? So these are the parent company and these are the child company, right? Now scroll right. We have to define the legal entity over here. So we have already defined the legal entity. Let's copy the information from this one and just paste it. The why? What is the? This is not a protected sheet. I don't know why. Make me to let's take the details of this one. Let's save this one. They are not protected. Let's save this one. So it's also the protected. No, let's save this one. Go to the downloads, click on this property, and this is not protected. I don't know why. Let's take one more. Let's start with a new one. So yeah, let's select the country here, USD, define the monthly once in the end. Right. Now let's add the segment like company, the primary is balancing segment. Let's take this for COMP. For let's take the department. We have the natural cost center segment. Right. Let's take 4. We have the account. Right. Natural account. Right. We have the 4. Right. Let's add the segment sheet. Let's go to this one. This is data lines US BU, and this is it's not data, it's lines, and this is our Reliance US legal entity. Right. Now go to the company, Let's define the parent. Let's go to the protected sheet, I think. The same problem. Let's, if you define the legal entity, suppose we have this one. Let's copy this one. Sorry. And paste it over here. And we define the parent, right? Let's take 1010. I think this is protected. Now let's weigh some issue in this sheet. So we will move to our next task because we have some issue in this sheet. So we will cover in our next session. This is rapid implementation, right? So our next topic is employee user, right? So employee user is a person who works for a tenant and associated with an operation company. You need to be an onboard person as an employee prior to our onboard operator, right? So employee and operator must be associated to an operations company, company operation, which is business division for which we work, right? If we want to work for P2P cycle, procure to pay cycle, we required a employee user, right? So if you have the employee user, then only you can create the supplier for the transaction within the purchasing application. And in the purchasing application, if you want to create any document, that could be requisition purchase order, and we can perform those document creation only from the employee user, right? So we have the types of user. So now the types of user, in our earlier session we created our user from the security console. So when we talk about user, user is a classified into a two type. One is SCM and another is SCM and another one is security console, right? So the SCM user we called as a employee user, and user we created from the security console is called as a implementation user. So if you want to create an employee user, we required a legal entity and the business unit information. So if you work on the phrase instance, you have to create all the fields. You can create all the fields, right? Legal entity and all that. So you can't create the employee user directly from the employee user, right? We cannot create the employee user directly from the fresh instance, right? We required a legal entity because we required the legal entity and the business unit. So it is not possible to get the legal entity and the business unit first instance, right? So that's why we required the implementation user. Now with the help of the implementation user, we can do all the setups. We ready with the business unit, right? So we can, with the help of the implementation user, we can create the legal entity, we can create the business unit, right? So we can create the employee user with the help of the legal entity and the business unit, right? So while creating any employee user, when you assign the legal entity and the employee user, the system will check the legal entity map with the LDG. So what is the LDG? LDG is nothing but a legislative data group. It means a specific country payroll, right? A payroll is defined within a legislative data group, and we have to associate the legal entity with this LDG, right? If you don't associate, a legal entity with the LDG, then you cannot use the legal entity at the time of user creation. So firstly, before creation of employee user, right? So you have to create the legislative data group, then you assign the legislative data group to the legal entity. After that, we can create the employee user. I repeat, first we create the legislative data group. After that, we assign the legislative data group to this legal entity, and then we can create the employee user, right? So let's move to the instance. This is our instance. So this is our setup and maintenance. Click on this task list, click on this search, and we have to search. The task name is manage legislative data group. Legislative data group, click on this task, click on this create, right? Now we have to define the legislative data group name, that is Stata US legislative data group, right? Now let's select the country. United States, click OK. Then currency is US dollar, right? Click on this submit. Yes, the request date was submitted, right? So in this way we can create a legislative data group. Done. Now let's assign this LDG to a legal entity, right? So again, search. The task name is legal entity SCM information. Click on that, right? Now let's search our legal entity. This is Tata. So the first one is our legal entity. Click on that. Click on this payroll statutory unit. Click on this edit. Click on this update. Right. So this is a update legal entity box. So what is the reason for updating this legal entity? You can define over here from this drop down list. You can search, you can define over here. Click on OK. Now let's select our legislative data group. Let's click on that. Search our legislative data group. Select, click OK. Right, and you can define the fiscal year start date. Right, but it's not a mandatory field, so go with the submit. Yes. Okay. Done. Okay, done. Now you can create a user. So we have the task name is manage user. Click on this manage user. Click on this create icon. Right. So we have to define some personal details, user notification preference, employment information, and the resource information, right? So this is all about the user information. So let's start with the last name. Suppose we have the is Morgan, right? And first name is not a mandatory field, you can skip. And we have to define the email ID. So the Morgan @gmail.com, right? And we have the hire date. Let's select the hire date is prior date, right? Right. We have to define the user name. It is Morgan, and you can also link the existing user with this user, right? We have the option. Now we have the user notification preference. So send username and password. With the help of this functionality, the system will send the ID password to this email ID, right? You can you can set your ID password with the help of the link provided by the Oracle, right? In this email ID. Now we have the employment information. So the person type is employee. So when we select the employee, we have to select our legal entity and the business unit also, right? So let's select our business unit. So select our business unit. This is Tata legal entity. Click OK. In the same way, we have to define our business unit. Search it. this is our business unit. Click OK. You can define the job, grade, the department, location, the mail stop, the manager over here. You can define who is the manager for this user, right? And we have the resource role, like here's the BI administrator, right? You can define the role also over here, right? So these are the basic information for this user, right? Let's click on this save and close. Okay. Yes, let's search our so you can see this is our employee user, right? You can click on that and you can edit the information, right? This is our employee user, right? Save and close. Now you can set the password using the security console. So click on this navigator, go to the tools and go to the security console. Right. So okay, this is user. Let's search Morgan. Now this is our employee user. You can change the password, right? Like Morgan at the rate 123. Yes. Right. Click on reset password. So in this way you can reset the password for this employee user, right? So right. So in today's session we had covered the legal entity, business unit, and the employee user, and the RI sheet we will cover in our next session, right? So thanks for attending this session. Thank you so much.